Ashoka, Innovators for the Public, is a global organization that searches out and supports social entrepreneurs, men and women who use entrepreneurial vision and skills to attack and solve social problems.
We're only talking about people who cannot come to rest until their vision has become the new pattern society-wide.
Ashoka is a community of over 1,500 social entrepreneurs, plus staff members, partners, and volunteers in over 50 countries who work together to create widespread, long-lasting change. Bill Drayton is its founder.
You got to have a vision that's going to change the field. You've got to be equally concerned with the how-tos. How do you get from here to there?
In this program, Bill Drayton describes how social entrepreneurs think and act, how the burgeoning field of social entrepreneurship is making a profound impact on millions of lives, and how everyone can contribute to its growth.
The entrepreneur and the idea are so closely tied together that the life cycle of an idea and the entrepreneur is very hard to separate. Now, of course, an entrepreneur can live beyond the launch of an idea. Similarly, the idea can live long after the entrepreneur. Jean Monnet, I think, was the second most brilliant person of the last century. He was responsible for the unification of Europe. His basic dynamic in Europe, idea, institution, stronger idea, next institution, more momentum and credibility for the idea. He died in 1979. That dynamic is still going on. And that's his core genius, in my mind, is setting that dynamic in place. So the person and the idea are married, but especially once you get beyond this stage of defining and figuring out how to make it work at scale, then they can have independent lives. One of the Ashoka Fellows in Brazil saw that half the people in a relatively rich state, Rio Grande do Sul, had no electricity in the rural areas. He wanted to change that. So he developed a new approach to rural electrification that cut the cost 70 to 90%. And then he went to work to change it. And he had to talk to the engineering firms and get financing structured and so on. That's changed the lives of way over 1 million people and spreading. He's now focusing on how do you get solar energy into the hands of people who are not wealthy. And there are hundreds of millions of people across the world who can benefit from that. J.B. Schramm, right here in Washington, was one of the first U.S. Ashoka Fellows. He has a very simple idea, but one that'll have a big impact. He went to college. Most of his classmates didn't. That bothered him because he knew that they were just as smart, and he thought this was wrong and a big waste. He had parents who went to college. They didn't. This is not what should make the difference. Classic for an entrepreneur, he kept that idea in his mind's eye. He kept thinking about it, looking at it, feeling his way to an answer. He had to find an answer that would be low cost and simple and a big win for all the actors. Classic entrepreneur's criteria. He set up something called College Summit. The way it works, he takes a peer group of high school students from families that do not have college backgrounds, and they spend 4 or 5 days at a college summit on a nearby campus. College is demystified. They're challenged from the first moment to think about their lives, to articulate the strengths of what they've done, to write the essays for getting into college. They're talking with people who are role models. He then works with the homeroom teachers. Now, this works. 80% of the kids go, 80% graduate. Now, this is a very simple idea, but it has to be implemented. And he's now at the stage of moving it out across the country. That's a social entrepreneur at work.